welcome to another Mind Blow mini lesson with Miss Hoover. Today we are talking genre. Our I can statement is I can use the elements and characteristics of a text to determine the genre it belongs to. Now, genre is just a fancy term for where a book belongs. Because we kind of organize it into different categories, we want to put the books that have the same kind of context all in the same group. Okay, so it's just a fancy term we use to kind of categorize and sort books. So I'm going to give you some more examples of that on the next slide. Materials needed today: Chromebook, chapter book, your genre brochure, and a positive can-do attitude. Here we go. Alrighty, so let's talk genre. You should be familiar with the next two words that I'm going to say, which is fiction and nonfiction. So that is kind of like our beginning, our big part of our genre. And then we have these subcategories below that, okay? So for fiction, some other examples might include realistic fiction. An example of that might be Brave, okay? So it could definitely happen, but it's still a made-up story. Fantasy, that's going to be our example of Harry Potter. I wish that world was definitely true, but we know that isn't. And it's kind of a fantasy made-up world that we go to when we read those books. A myth, a mystery, science fiction, a fairy tale. So any of your kind of like Disney stories would be fairy tales, any princess type things. A fable and a folk tale. So an example of a folk tale would be like Paul Bunyan, if you've ever heard about him. He would be a folktale that it's a story that's passed down and told for many generations. Historical fiction, so that would be like a book that takes place in a certain time, but the story is made up. Okay, poetry, drama, and legend. Okay, so I went through those pretty quick, and what I just want to make this video for you is to kind of just glaze over these, and when you actually get your book, you're going to be able to kind of determine these. And if you need to Google a couple of these or ask me some questions, I'm here to support you in that. So fiction, you just have to remember it's a made-up story, and then there's some subcategories where it's like maybe it could happen, but it's made up, or it's definitely like way far into fantasy, it could never happen in real life type thing. So nonfiction, remember, are stories that are true or they give us facts. Some examples in that subcategory would be informational, a biography, which I have down here, Who Was Rosa Parks, autobiography, expository, which it was a new one for me, I have to be honest. I looked this one up because I wasn't as confident. I don't teach students this type as much. So all that is a fancy term for a book that explains something. So I got this beautiful photo of a blobfish. Now it's my favorite animal of all time. And I knew that it was expository because the genre of the pink blobfish is expository because it explains the traits and makeups of animals that are pink. Okay? So I knew that that type of nonfiction explains. So I knew that that book fit into that genre category. The last one would be procedural. So the one thing that I really think of there is it's just telling you step by step how to do something. A lot of times if you got like a new cabinet from like Walmart or IKEA or something, you would have the procedural guide, the step-by-step guide on how to put that together. So some sentence starters that you can use while you're talking about genre. You could say the genre of this text is because this book is a or an blank type of genre because the text is blank and my proof is blank. So what you need to know is you need to figure out your genre and then you have to prove it, okay? Now remember, you're not helpless in this. You have your genre categories, and if you forget what they are or my explanation didn't quite get you there, Google it, okay? You guys can figure this out, but if you need my assistance, let me know. All right, good luck.